You're watching KRCR News Channel 7. At 5, get the facts right.
Deadly and dangerous wildfires continue to burn in the North State, some even forcing new evacuations this afternoon. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Brent Weber.
And I'm Allison Woods. We're starting tonight with the Carr fire in Shasta County, where more than 1,000 people are dealing with the reality of having lost their homes. Containment increased by 2% overnight. The fire is now 65% contained. It has burned more than 207,000 acres. Priority number 1 is the north end of the fire, where crews are doing burn operations to strengthen control lines near Shasta Lake. And we've been sharing stories since the day the Carr fire started of the community joining together to support firefighters and law enforcement and those who lost their homes. But today we are seeing an entirely new form of selfless compassion. KRCR News Channel 7's Julia Avery is live on the Sacramento River with more. Juliet.
We're taking a look today at the destruction along the Sacramento River. It's truly heartbreaking to see some of this homes destroyed and to think that this all may have started just from a flat tire. But today we're seeing the community rebuild and forgive.
Shasta County showing tremendous compassion and support since the Carr fire ripped through Redding.
The Carr fire has just exploded again.
Now everything is moving so quickly.
This trailer behind me may possibly be the origin of this fire.
But people are going further than just helping those who lost their homes. They're now reaching out to tell the owners of the trailer with the flat tire, which is believed to have caused the Carr fire, that they forgive them.
I was thinking if I can send a card, maybe my friends would also send a card.
So she posted the request on social media. And just 2 days later,
67, 68, 69, 90, 91.
And they keep coming in.
We had firefighters who had been out there fighting the fire send notes. We've had counselors send notes saying they'd be willing to meet with the couple. We've had people who's lost everything. They lost everything, and they are even saying, it's not your fault.
And it's not just all of those letters. Over 300 people have taken to social media to write words of encouragement. They say, it's not your fault. It could have happened to any of us. And we forgive you.
The grandfather, Ed Bledsoe, who lost his wife and grandchildren, his granddaughter, I believe, made a post about to them, saying just how they weren't to blame.
The social media posts are going to be printed out and combined with the physical letters. Floranthropist is donating flowers, and it will all be delivered to the couple.
I think the fire has forced us to look into each other's eyes and discover the human kindness we have in this. You know, I think it's so beautiful.
If you would like to send a card to the couple, you can take it to CareNet on Athens Avenue in Redding. Coming up here at 5:30, we will take a closer look at some of the destruction we're seeing here along the Sacramento River. Reporting in Redding, Julia Avery, KRCR News Channel 7.
Thank you very much, Julia. If you lost your home in the Carr fire, the city of Redding wants to help you with the cleanup effort. The city council will host the second community debris removal meeting. It's coming up in about an hour, 6 o'clock at city council chambers. Officials with Shasta County, city of Redding, Cal OES staff will be there to help answer questions about the debris removal process. Tonight at 5:30, we'll take a look at some of the steps homeowners need to take before the end of September. KRCR News Channel 7's Megan Mackey will walk us through how to start that recovery process. Take a live look tonight at the Sundial Bridge. Some folks out there walking around. The air has been more in the less dangerous range, and the Turtle Bay camera showing that. But there's tough news for fire crews in days ahead, with some concern over dry lightning strikes in the North State. First Alert meteorologist Rob Elvington is here. Rob?
Yeah, we're still concerned about the smoke, and we typically see the worst of the smoke in the morning hours and into the early afternoon. A lot of that smoke settles in the nighttime hours. We also get what we call drainage wind, so that brings a lot of that smoke down from the mountains through some of these valleys and canyons and kind of settles in these low-lying areas. The other big concern, as Brent mentioned, dry lightning from from any thunderstorms. And that red flag warning just went into effect at 5 o'clock this evening for parts of Siskiyou and Modoc County. It's in place to 11 o'clock tomorrow night, again for dry lightning and gusty winds. It's not a certainty that we will see thunderstorms, but there is that chance. And that's due to this tropical moisture that continues to move northward. You'll notice that thunderstorms have made it north of Tahoe now, so approaching places like Plumas County and Lassen County. We're not seeing anything right now in the North State, but we'll have to watch it very closely. Of course, we're still tracking all the wildfire smoke from the fires. You've got the Mendocino complex, the Carr fire, the Hearst fire, all putting out a tremendous amount of smoke. But you'll also notice that we're starting to see a little bit more cloud cover rolling in from out of the south. You'll notice moving through Butte County, Glenn County, and into Tehama County. So we are starting to see a little bit of that moisture moving in from out of the south and southeast. Back to you.
Thank you, Rob. Fires burning in Mendocino County have claimed the life of a battalion chief out of Utah. Fire officials say he was hit by a falling tree. The CAL FIRE Division chief says that 42-year-old Matthew Burchett was battling flames when a tree fell on him and other firefighters. 3 others were injured. Burchett and the Utah crew were working alongside firefighters from Sonoma, Lake, and Napa counties who rushed to give him medical aid after he was injured. Burchett was part of a team of 5 firefighters deployed to California on August 2nd.
People living in Lakehead are getting a chance to learn more about the Hearst fire burning in Shasta Trinity National Forest. A meeting with firefighters will be held at the Lakehead Lions Club at 7 p.m. Now, as of the latest update, that fire remains 5% contained, has burned now more than 5,600 acres. Several homes are under evacuation orders north of Gilman Road near Hearst Mountain Road. Growth is primarily to the north and west. Gilman Road continues to hold the fire from spreading south and east, and we'll have an update for you at 10 and 11 tonight.
The Hat Fire burning in eastern Shasta County has burned to nearly 2,000 acres and is 75% contained tonight. All evacuation orders and road closures have been lifted for the fire burning northeast of Boerne. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
Plans to move criminals to mental health diversion programs, getting some revisions after concern over the types of crimes included. Changes the governor's calling on lawmakers to make next.
Plus, a suspected terror attack at Parliament in London. Now officials are trying to find the
Welcome.
Is to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information.
A lot can happen in just a few hours, and we're here to report what's happening, new developments, and what you can expect. KRCR News Channel 7 on Fox 20 at 10.
Good evening. Welcome back. A latest look at the MODIS heat detection map. Again, this is from polar orbiting satellites. So you get a few passes every single day, and it picks up the heat and, of course, the fire activity with these fires. And one thing you'll notice, look at the southwestern perimeter of the Carr fire. Nothing but yellow dots now. Even yesterday, we were still seeing a couple of red dots. So you'll notice no heat being picked up in the last 24 hours for that southwestern perimeter. Of course, still plenty of fire activity for that northeastern perimeter. Keep in mind that we have seen a lot of fire burn operations in that area. So not all of the heat on this map is just the open fire burning. It's, again, a lot of firefighting efforts. Hearst fire burning closer to the McLeod River arm, still putting out quite a bit of heat on that north and western perimeter of the fire. So these fires are still burning throughout the North State. Another note, the Hat fire closer to the Fall River Mills area have not seen any heat over the last 4 days. So that's why it's not on the map. There's a look at the AQI levels, air quality index. You'll notice for the Redding area, still in the unhealthy for sensitive groups, closer to unhealthy earlier this afternoon. But as the winds pick up, we start to heat up. A lot of that smoke lifts into the atmosphere and gets picked up by those stronger winds aloft. So the worst conditions getting blown off to the north. But of course, once the sun goes down, all that smoke starts to settle once again. So we go through the process every single day. And until these fires are out, we're going to continue to go through that process. There's a look at the visible satellite and radar. You'll notice that we are seeing thunderstorms approaching Lassen and Plumas County. We're getting some lightning strikes, and it's still pretty early in the day. So we'll have to continue to watch the surge of thunderstorms through the rest of tonight and even into the overnight hours. Again, we're concerned about dry lightning strikes. And you can see all the smoke from the Mendocino complex, the Carr fire, the Hearst fire throughout the day. And then towards the end of the animation, we're starting to see some clouds moving in from out of the south because of that tropical moisture. We'll zoom in closer to Shasta County. You can see those smoke plumes taking off. We've got south and southwest winds at about 10,000 feet. So that's why the main smoke plumes are moving off to the north. Of course, at the surface, the winds are doing slightly different things. Precision Positioncast not showing a whole lot of thunderstorm activity through tonight and into tomorrow morning. That's good news, but we do have the cloud cover, so that is indicating that there will be some convection or some of those towering cumulus clouds building through the overnight hours, so we still need to watch it closely. Forecast for tomorrow, right around 96 in Hayfork, 96 in Weaverville. These afternoon highs, no major changes compared to what we've seen over the last 2 days. Right around 92 for Alturas tomorrow, and then for the Valley, I'm going with the high of 99 for Redding tomorrow. We hit 99 today and yesterday, so if we do that tomorrow, it'll be the third day in a row with a high of 99. 95 for a high in Corning, 94 in Oroville. And your 7-day forecast for Chico, just a slight chance for some mountain thunderstorms. Best chances by far will be off to the north in the east of the valley. 96 for Thursday, but a little bit warmer heading into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Redding, your 7-day forecast. Threat of mountain thunderstorms continues tomorrow. Best chances by far well off to the east and north of the valley, closer to Lassen, Modoc County, and even into Oregon. And then back up to the triple digits heading into Thursday. And then highs peaking right around 104, 105 by Saturday and Sunday, but a little bit cooler heading into Monday and Tuesday. Back to you.
Thank you, Rob. It's dry and we're dealing with wildfires here, but across the country, it's a natural disaster of a different kind. A look at the extreme flooding, forcing people from their homes and creating major concerns for public safety. That's coming up next.
You're watching KRCR News Channel 7 live.
Don't hide it. We know that sometimes emotions just get the better of you, especially at the Honda Summer Spectacular event. And we know getting a deal on the Honda Civic, a 2018 KBB.com Best Buy, can be quite liberating, especially
Bob, we gotta...
News Channel 7.
I'm Allison Woods.
KRCR News Channel 7 at 5:30. Get the facts right.
Happening soon, the second community debris removal meeting in Redding. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Allison Woods.
And I'm Brent Weber. It's at 6 o'clock at the Redding City Council chambers, a little bit more than a half an hour from now. Officials with the county, City of Redding, Cal OES staff will be there to help answer questions. KRCR News Channel 7's Megan Mackey is out live in front of the Redding City Council where that meeting is about to begin. Megan?
Now, the process to recovery is long, and I'm currently standing outside of City Hall where a meeting is set to begin at 6 o'clock. Now, the doors just opened to City Hall, where, as you can see behind me, people are heading in to get a seat to hear what City Hall has to say tonight. Now, as these properties are checked for toxic substances by the state, the debris removal process will start to begin. Now, all this needs to be done before applying for building permits, but the first thing you need to do is opt in or out with the city, and your deadline is September 30th.
With this health and safety emergency, ash and all that stuff around, we need to get that out of here, one way or another. Either you do it on your own, or Cal Recycle comes in and does that.
Carr Fire Recovery Director Brian Crane says the average cost per property to remove debris is $70,000.
I think early on people are thinking I can do it myself, I can do it cheaper, more efficient than the government. But I think when you listen to the presentation tonight, you realize this is what these guys do.
The city says there are only two options. You can choose to opt out, and that means 100% of the costs fall on you. If you choose to opt in, state and federal agencies will help with the cost of cleanup. For homeowners who opt in, Cal Recycle will start in the areas they feel they can get the most amount of work done in the quickest amount of time.
The homeowners are slowly getting their ROEs in, and the first one we have is the one all by itself, and we don't have others. Then Cal Recycle will head in that direction.
The city says they plan on completing residential removal process by the end of the year. In addition, they say if you have insurance, you are required to submit your insurance policy, including any coverage for debris removal. They will use all of the debris removal assistance in your coverage plan before allocating state and federal funding.
I have to get the debris removal page, which I don't have.
If your insurance policy covers some debris removal, the city says you cannot use that money to remove pools, fencing, and sheds that are not covered by the state or federal agencies.
Those are costs that will need to come out of your own pocket. Now, counties, cities, state, and federal agencies will all be at this meeting tonight, coming up in about 30 minutes here at 6 o'clock, and they will be explaining the cleanup process to these homeowners. Now, coming up at 6:30, I'll have more from inside that meeting and what the city plans to do moving forward in the recovery process. Live at City Hall in Reading, Megan Mackey, KRCR News Channel 7.
Thank you, Megan. Starting today, fire crews will be conducting fire operations on the Carr fire to strengthen control lines, and so you may be seeing some smoke. CAL FIRE says there'll be visible smoke for the next 3 to 5 days from the community of Lakehead, west of Shasta Lake, and the I-5 corridor. The Carr fire is now 65% contained. It's burned more than 207,000 acres.
Smoky conditions as we look live over Reading from our Mercy Medical Center Skycam, and that smoke could be dense around Lakehead and Shasta Lake as fire crews are conducting firing operations to strengthen control lines on the Carr fire. Meteorologist Rob Elvington is here with more on the chance for isolated mountain thunderstorms. Good evening, Rob.
Good evening, Allison. And that was what we were seeing last week with the Carr fire on that northeastern perimeter. A lot of smoke coming from all these controlled burns, these burning operations, and sometimes you get more smoke from all that activity than the fire itself. So unfortunately, the smoke will continue. Red flag warnings are in place through 11 o'clock tomorrow night for parts of Siskiyou and Modoc County. It's for that threat of dry lightning with any thunderstorms that do form. Thankfully, the chances of thunderstorms are very low, but there is that chance. So that's why we need to watch it very closely. We have that one fire that's burning now into Siskiyou County that caused some evacuations yesterday. That was a lightning fire from about a month ago, and that's why we take these thunderstorms very seriously. And you'll notice the lightning now north of Lake Tahoe. So we've been watching this tropical moisture moving north and northwestward over the last couple of days. We'll zoom in a little bit closer. And again, we're starting to see some of that activity moving into parts of eastern Plumas County. A lot of people asking about the wildfire smoke. The smoke is typically the worst in the morning hours and into the early afternoon. That's because all that smoke from the day before starts to settle in the overnight hours, and it takes all that daytime heating or daytime convection to heat up the lower levels of the atmosphere, heat up the ground, and then it allows for the convection currents to start. So it helps to lift a lot of that smoke up and then get picked up by those upper level winds. But sometimes it takes the entire afternoon to get this process going. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Rob. We're seeing the Carr fire from a different angle tonight from the Sacramento River. KRCR News Channel 7's Julia Avery is live out on the river. Julia, can you tell us where you are and what you see?
Allison, we're getting a pretty shocking view here from the Sacramento River. We're next to the Keswick Dam over here, and you can see burned vegetation on each side of the river. This burn is being seen from about downstream Harlan Drive all the way up miles past Keswick Dam. I mean, it puts into perspective what it must have looked like here about 3 weeks ago when the fire came through and all of this was burning. A local fisherman tells me that these hills were covered in manzanita trees so thick that you could barely walk through them, and now you can see it's all bare and burned. Now, we're a little far, but you can see those homes out there on the bluff. There is one destroyed, and the trees burned about halfway up. It just shows the unpredictability of this fire to have one destroyed and the ones around it to be fine. Now, the trail here is closed. This is the trail right along the edge of the river. They've closed it down, and they are working on the areas around here. We've seen REU and other utility workers out here working to get all this back open, and there are people out here working, sifting through what's left of their homes as well. Reporting in Reading, Julia Avery.
Thank you very much, Julia. In Glenn County, mandatory evacuations have been issued for the Pleasant Valley area of the Mendocino National Forest due to the Mendocino Complex. Evacuations include the Mendocino National Forest boundary west to the Lake County line, south to Colusa County line, and north to County Road 308. Areas under advisory evacuation are east of the Mendocino National Forest boundary to County Road 306 and north to County Road 308, including the town of Elk Creek.
The U.S. Forest Service says the Hearst fire burning near Lakehead was human-caused. Gilman Road continues to hold the fire from spreading south and east, and firefighters are working on contingency lines to the north. Structures along Hearst Mountain Lookout Road have been evacuated. Firefighters continue to assess structures in the Gilman Road and Salt Creek area for potential protection. There will be a public meeting tonight at 7 o'clock at the Lakehead Lions Club located on Mammoth Drive. The fire has burned over 5,600 acres and is 5% contained.
The Carr fire impacting students as they prepare to return to class.
And some students will have to attend a different school due to the damage. Coming up, the state superintendent tours the damaged campuses where hundreds of students lost their homes in the Carr fire.
The school campus in Magalia surrounded by pine trees, taking precautions. KRCR's Jerry O'Lennon has more on efforts to clear that area of dry and dangerous vegetation. That's coming up on KRCR News Channel 7 at 5:30.
You're watching
means help 4 hours
to talk about estimated 300 students in Shasta County have been impacted by the Carr fire, and that makes for a rough start to the school year. California State Superintendent for Public Instruction, Tom Torlakson, visited Shasta County today to talk about how the state is ready to help. KRCR News Channel 7's Brianna Haney spoke with Torlakson at Shasta Union Elementary School and joins us now with more. Good evening, Brianna.
Good evening, Brent. Torlakson spent nearly 4 hours here today touring different schools and speaking with local educational leaders about their needs in the wake of the Carr fire crisis. At Shasta Union Elementary, he remarked on the state of schools, melted playground equipment. 120 students who normally would go to school here instead will be switched to a temporary location at Igo Ono Elementary School. Torlakson also told officials his office will do everything they can to support the students, whether it means helping with grants, cutting through red tape, or sending in more counselors to help students deal with the trauma of losing their homes.
You can just see dreams gone up in smoke. You can see families that had their future planned here in this beautiful community with the beautiful surroundings. So it's sadness at the loss, but also some hope.
Despite the devastation, Torlakson told me he's optimistic about the future of the school and commends the community spirit that the families at the school have shown. Grant School on the west side of Reading is counting on that sense of community spirit too, but they also know they'll need to offer extra help to their students who were impacted by the fire. I'll tell you what they have planned coming up at 6:30. Brianna Haney, KRCR News Channel 7.
Thank you, Brianna. Well, school started today in parts of Butte County, Magalia specifically, which with its expansive forestry is filled with a risk of wildfire. KRCR News Channel 7's Jerry Lennon shows us an effort to make that area's school children safer from forest fires.
It was the first day of class at the aptly named Pine Ridge Elementary School, a campus surrounded by pine trees. A beautiful environment to learn, but as a parent of a toddler, a campus fraught with worry of a wildfire.
And it's just a risk of living in this area.
Yeah.
And, you know, we love it here and we're willing to accept the risk.
Plus, inside Pine Ridge's campus are more trees and wooden buildings.
The trees and the buildings together is a very dangerous combination because you have fuels that are going to burn longer and with more heat.
Which is why Callie Jane DeAnda is grateful that the Butte Fire Safe Council received a grant from the Sierra Nevada Conservatory and Cal Fire to clear the area of dry and dangerous vegetation. Here's the before, here's the after.
We are in general just thinning the forest. It's overgrown. It was a young forest, like a young garden that too many weeds came up in, and so those weeds needed to be thinned out.
There are currently 11 acres of land being made safer from fires. The Butte Fire Safe Council considers this a high priority, and you can see why. Look at how close the school playground is to the forest.
If a fire were burning from Butte Creek down below, it would come up into the crowns of the trees and burn right into the school.
After all, what happened at Shasta Elementary during the Carr fire, hate to say it, could happen here. But thanks to some forethought and a little work, school children and their parents can feel a little safer. In Magalia, Jerry O'Lennon, KRCR News Channel 7.
And besides the obvious safety of the children, Pine Ridge Elementary School is also a public assembly area in the event of an evacuation, putting it at the top of the Fire Safe Council's priority list.
And we are still watching the radar closely through the rest of tonight, even into Wednesday, because of that threat of thunderstorms. And we do have those red flag warnings in place for the threat of dry lightning and gusty winds. Details coming up right after this break.
Tonight, the secret recordings. Now the fallout. One of the president's most loyal supporters turns on the White House.